You know, it's amazing how it's still snowing in May for like the third day in a row. What's up? It's Martin here. And today I'm going to be answering your questions that you sent to me on either Instagram or Discord. If you guys are new here, I'm Martin and I'm going to be going to my second year in Western's Medical Sciences program in September. Today we're going to be having a mix of questions related to courses, pre-med activities, and some related to residence or other miscellaneous things about the program or about Western in general. So I'll do my best to answer those questions. With that out of the way, let's get right into the video. So the first question is, which course did you find the hardest, and also which course required the most effort and studying? So the hardest course for me was either physics or calculus, because if you haven't watched my previous videos, that's the course or courses that I had the lowest marks in. But I think that's more in part of a lack of good study habits in those two courses, because honestly I was doing a lot less practice than I should have been doing. And I'd say the course that took the most effort was probably biology, because there's a lot of concepts to know and ideas to connect together, and it's not just like psychology where you just straight up memorize the facts and what the terms mean. So let's move on to the next question, which reads, I noticed that you mentioned how psychology was very popular among medsci students. Are there any other first year electives that medsci students often take? What's an quote unquote easy course that I can take? Psychology is definitely one of the more popular electives that MedSci students take, because Psych and Soc is one of the four sections in the MCAT. And a lot of MedSci students are pre-med, so a lot of them just take psychology just to prepare for that section. But as for which subject would be another popular elective, I wouldn't be so sure about that, because most of the people that I talked to had psychology as their elective. But as for quote unquote easy courses, I know this is kind of cheesy, but there's no point of really studying a course just because it's easy if you don't like it. I'd much rather you take a course that you're actually interested in because of the work and effort that you put into it, that you would get a good mark anyway. So I feel like it's an important thing to adapt the mindset of there's no actual like easy course that you can take, because in future years when people recommend you bird courses or like courses for free marks, then you might not get as high of a mark as you think you would, because you didn't put any effort into studying or even going to class for that matter. So choose something that you're at least interested in and that should be easier for you. And the next question says, hey, I'm going to Western for the MedSci program this fall, but like you, I have not taken physics in grade 12 either. So should I take physics in summer school before uni or not? So I'm not sure if this question spawns from the fact that I didn't do as well in physics compared to my other subjects because I didn't take it in high school, but I think it's more in part to me not actually going to class much, especially in the first term, and really studying until like the last moment. So I think if you have a solid work ethic across all of your subjects, then you shouldn't really have a problem with that. I'm sure you have better things to do in your summers other than going to do some more coursework, like having fun with your friends and family, or just doing other things outside of coursework to develop more as an all around person. So I hope that helps. The next question reads, are grade 12 notes going to be useful next year? And my answer to that is no, didn't look at them once. And let's move on to the next question, and it's another quick one. Do you have a bio textbook? Yeah, I do have a bio textbook. I just uploaded that to the Google Drive folder, link in the description below. And it's not as a PDF, so it's in the link inside a Google Doc. So you should be able to find that there. And the next question is it worth it to borrow notes for year one from people who are in first year and going to second year? My answer to that is no, it's not worth doing that, because I'd much rather you try to create your own notes, because that's honestly a skill that you have to develop throughout your undergraduate career anyway. So think about it this way. If you're relying on other people to take your notes your first year, then what's going to happen in your next few years? Are you going to keep buying people's notes? And what's going to happen in the future when you go to postgraduate education? I think it's a really important skill for you to develop, and even if it's hard in the beginning, just stick with it. And I think it's just more important to do that instead of getting your notes off of other people. And I hope that answers your question. So the next question is, I heard that there are practice exams and tests. Where could we find those? If it's anything that you're going to get from a second year, I'd rather that be past tests and exams. As for where to get those, you have to get those from upper year students like us second years, and I'll try to upload some on the Google Drive whenever I have the time. And yeah, I'm sure you can find those floating around as a Google Drive folder in your group chats or whatnot that you have before going to school. And there are some resources like books that you can buy from the bookstore that have past exams like the calculus exams, the chemistry ones, which are inside the lab manuals that you have to buy. And as for bio and psychology, those are provided by the teachers, but they only give you like one practice test. So I guess that's where the upper year students come in and give you more test banks. So don't worry about that too much because there's going to be test banks floating around. Next question. I heard that bio first year is kind of hard. I know you're pretty good at it, but how would you describe it? How was the bio exam like? Is it all multiple choice? So how I would describe bio is something that you should keep up with after every lecture, otherwise you'd probably fall behind. Not all concepts build off the last, but some of them do. So it's really important to keep up with the course content as it goes along because sometimes if you don't understand the previous lecture, then when you're sitting in the current lecture, you're going to wonder what's going on. As for the exams, there's 2 term tests, and then there's the final exam, and then the rest of the mark is determined by online assignments and labs. So I'm sure you can find the course outline somewhere on the internet. They rarely change it year to year. And the exams were all multiple choice besides the final exam, which consists of a small short answer portion. I'll try to find an example of that and put that on the Google Drive when I have the time to do that. And a lot of the questions are going to be in multiple choice format. So basically how that goes is they give you a question and then they give you 4 statements. And then the multiple choice that goes from A to E is going to ask you which statements are true or not. So A, statements 1, 2, and 3 are correct. B, only 1 and 3 are correct. C, 2 and 4 are correct. D, only 4 is correct. And E, none of them is correct. Something like that. I feel like if you haven't done that much in high school, you might struggle a little bit with that at first, but I'm sure you'll get the hang of it. So next question. Did you take applied math second sem or calc? I took applied math second sem because people said it was easier, which is not the mindset I should have taken when I chose that course, but I did put in the work and I ended up with a pretty good result. So look at the course content and see if you're going to be comfortable with it and then choose it based on that. So next question. If you can go back and redo physics, what are some things that you could change to do better? Yeah, there's a lot of things that I can do better. 1. Actually do practice problems. 2. Actually know that there are practice problems. 3. Which is optional. Go to class because you can just read the textbook and follow the posted lecture slides. I'm pretty sure there was a 4th point, but I kind of forgot. Just know that the reason I didn't do as well is because of my own habits. And I already said this before, but if you have a solid work ethic, then you have no problems in getting a good mark in this course. So I hope that kind of eases your worry a little bit, I guess. Next question. Can you talk about the profs for first year and their teaching styles and who was your favorite, possibly? I had a video about this and I'll link that up here. I think I talked about the professors enough in that video, but in short, the psychology professor was a great lecturer and I liked his teaching style. In case you were wondering, it's Prof. Atkinson. Next question. I read this on another Discord server, but is this true? I talked to some Western first and second year students. They said it's a lot of work. Yeah, probably referring to medsci, which I expected. And at the same time, it's really hard to achieve a high GPA, especially for first and second year, because they try to filter kids out. If I can recall correctly, one of them told me that their class size went from 2,000 in the first year to just over 1,000. So to that, I say, of course it's going to be hard work. It's supposed to be a competitive program because a lot of us are trying to get to med school. And unfortunately, not everybody gets there. It's just the hard truth. So it's just something that we have to consider. But I also feel like you get what you put in because I know that I didn't put my fullest effort up front this year and that's why I didn't get the GPA that I wanted. But it's still a strong GPA because I did work hard but not the hardest. So I do feel like it's a fair grading system. And as for what they said about weeding people out of the program, there have been some people that are already out of the program first year, but I don't know how much of that is because of the course difficulty or their study habits aren't really working for them in the sense that they're not balancing their work and play life adequately, I guess. I'm not saying that for everyone, but I feel like more often than not, it's not really the course difficulty's fault. Unless second year is just drastically more difficult because I haven't gone through that yet. So I think we're going to see a lot more people back this argument after second year. So we'll see how that goes. As for the class size going from 2,000 to 1,000, year one's class size is like around 700 or 800. So the numbers are already off, but it goes down to about half just after second year. So I can see where this sentiment comes from, but nobody said it was going to be easy. And if you don't put enough work into it, then I'm not sure how you can expect to get through. So the next part of this screenshot is modules. Well, they are so competitive. You aren't really in the program until third year. you aren't guaranteed a spot either. You have to maintain this GPA, and my friends said it's not as easy. Like, yes, if you work hard, you can achieve it. Oh my goodness, the spelling in this. Okay, so you aren't really in the program until third year? Yeah, kinda. Because the first 2 years are exactly the same as Gen Sci, which is the general science program at Western. And you're also not guaranteed a spot either. But the last part of the statement really sums up what I'm trying to say here, and that is, if you put the work into it, you're probably going to make it. And if you put in the work and you still don't make it, this might be a little controversial, and I'm sure that you've heard this enough, but it's not always about working hard, but it's also about working smart. So don't continue studying the way that you're studying if it's not yielding you the results that you want. Because Einstein's definition of insanity is if you expect something different from doing exactly the same thing. So really, if you're doing something and it's not working, and you don't change anything and you expect a different result, that's basically the same thing as beating your head against the wall. I'm sorry, but I just had to put that out there. And I think it's really important for you guys to realize that. So if your high school techniques aren't working, you gotta change something. And hope that helps. And next question. These are the pre-med related questions. During your first year in medsci, are there research opportunities with a prof or TA that helps build experience for the future? For example, for med school. As for first years, it's a bit harder to get research experiences like this because there's just so many people in the program, and the profs can't really talk to people one-on-one unless you really go and ask them in office hours or something like that. And no lab TA or professor is going to come crashing down your doors saying, oh my goodness, he had a 4.0 GPA in high school, let's take him into the lab. Because it doesn't really matter what successes you had in high school, because most med-sci students had a 4.0 in high school, and now that we're all in first year, we're all on the equal playing field, so nobody's going to come shaking our hands because we had a high GPA in high school. And especially for first year, we don't have enough experience or knowledge in the sciences to really justify any lab professors or TAs to take us in for research. But there are opportunities, it's just that you have to look very hard for them. So yeah, hope that answers the question. So next question. Are there volunteer positions at a clinic or hospital near Western that are available during the school year? Yeah, there are clinical experiences that are available. Because there's a hospital affiliated with the university, I'll put that on the screen somewhere, and there are clinics nearby. You just have to look for these opportunities. And next question. Were you involved in any clubs or extracurriculars first year? If so, did you find it hard to balance it with your work? The only extracurriculars I was involved in during the year were Western ACF, which is a Christian fellowship, and Western Dragon Boat Club. For Dragon Boat, we had like 4 practices a week, but realistically, I only go to about 3 of them. And ACF, we had like fellowship once a week. And I thought that was about as much as I could manage, because any more than that, and I feel like maybe my marks would have tanked. And I probably would have been a lot more stressed during the year because I had so many things to keep track of and too many places to be with the time I had available to me to study. So I believe it's really important to get a feel of how much coursework you're going to be doing. So it's okay if you don't get involved in clubs for the first couple months of school, just to get used to how much work that you need to do in order to be successful and maintain a high GPA. And then maybe then you can look into taking extracurriculars. But if getting involved in clubs is an urgent thing for you, then I'd say just take one at first and see how much more you can take in your schedule. So hope that helped. Next question. Hey Martin, I think I'm going to medsci this fall and I have questions about your extracurriculars. Do you volunteer at clinics or hospitals? Are there opportunities for pre-med students to get experience in London? What clinical experience did you do? As for the summer break of year 1, do most pre-med students stay and take summer courses or do volunteer work? What is your plan for the summer? So yeah, that's a lot of questions, but I'll try to answer them. Yeah, there are opportunities for pre-meds at Western, and I mentioned that in the question previous, so that's already out of the way. As for clinical experiences, I really didn't have much myself because I was supposed to volunteer at a hospital in Toronto sometime this summer, but due to the situation we're in, I can't really do that right now. As for the summer break and what I'm doing, I had that in another video up here, and I say that you can do anything with your summers, whether it be all clinical, all coursework, or a mix of both. There's a lot of things that you can do with the summer, especially because school ends in late April. So you have enough time to do whatever you want to do in the summer, whether that be have fun, volunteer, work, anything like that. Hopefully that helped. And the next question is a pretty good question, and I didn't really think about that until now. And that is, I've heard that an 80% at Western is a 4.0 on the AMCAS grading scale. Is that true? So to clarify for the viewers, but I'm sure most of you guys know because most of us are pre-meds here, the AMCAS, or the American Medical College Application Service, is basically the medical school equivalent for OUAC for the US schools. And as for the question, it says that an 80% in Western is a 4.0 on that scale. I'm not so sure, but apparently from reading online forums, I can say that's true, but I have to make sure by asking the pre-med advisors at Western or whatnot, or just calling up the medical schools in the US. So I'll confirm that at a later date, but as for now, I definitely chose Western because of that. But yeah, that's news to me. And I hope by bringing that to attention, maybe that will be a deciding factor for you, because GPA matters, and making that easier for you guys to get into a US medical school would be pretty cool. Besides the fact that the US med schools are really expensive. So if that's true, drop a like on the video, because an 80% being a 4.0 is crazy. And that would make applying to the US schools a lot easier for us. So next question. So these questions are now residence related or other questions. And to start, we have, is there any res building and style that you would recommend? And were you able to choose your roommate, or did you have to go with a random person? So obviously I'm going to be biased and say that Ontario Hall is the best residence because it's the newest one and it's the nicest and it has really good food compared to the other ones. And another good thing about Ontario Hall is that it's really close to the rec center, which is basically the gym of the school. And it's also close to a Subway, a Bearcat, and a Pizza Hut if you're interested in that, which is pretty cool. But the bad thing about it is that it's a bit far from your science classes, which most of our classes are in the North Campus building or the Natural Science Center, which you can look that up on Google Maps. It's pretty far. So that's the only gripe I had with this residence. I was able to choose my roommates because on the online portal for residents, you get to partner up with people, and that basically ensures that you're going to be rooming with them for the most part. That's why all the people that I was rooming with, I knew them from high school, so I was pretty lucky with that. But if you don't choose anyone with that system, then it's going to be random. So good luck with that. And the next question. Can you be a medsci student and party? Yeah, why not? But for me, I wasn't really interested in doing that, and that's why I didn't do it myself. But I'm sure that if you have a good balance of partying and studying, then you can really get through with a good grade. But just because I said that, don't go all out on party. Because if you go too hard, you can probably set yourself a few days back for studying. So yeah, next question. Are there summer internships or co-op available for the first 2 years of medsci? Are there jobs available on campus? I'm just asking because working to pay off my tuition is a big factor for me. So that's good forward thinking. Paying off tuition is definitely a very important thing, and there are opportunities for part-time jobs on campus. There's a lot of jobs affiliated with the University Students' Council, so always look out for those. And as for co-op or internships, you don't really get those first or second year unless you really, really look for them. But as for the ones that the school provides, that would be at medsci's third year. And as mentioned earlier, people aren't going to come crashing down your doors to give you an internship or an opportunity, so you really got to look for those yourself. So, next question. How is residence and campus life at Western? How hard is it to get a single room? So, residence and campus life at Western is honestly pretty good. I'd say that a lot of people enjoyed it, and as for me, I'm quite introverted, but I still found a couple of friends to talk to, and I think I had a decent time. Like, I'm not the type of person that needs to go out a lot. So basically, my life at school goes something like this. I go to school, I eat, I study, I go to the gym, and I sleep. Nothing really out of the ordinary there. I don't really party or anything. But if partying is your thing, there's definitely a lot of that going around. So I think you'll have a good time. And as for how difficult it is to get a single room, out of the 7 residences, which are Saugeen Maitland Hall, Medcid, Delaware, Perth, Ontario Hall, Essex, and Elgin, only 4 of those residences, being the hybrid style Ontario and Perth, and the suite style Elgin and Essex, have single rooms in them. And the amount of beds are going to be put on the screen for each residence right here. And based on that, it's around a 50% chance that you'd land in Elgin, Essex, Perth, and Ontario. But you have to keep in mind that in Ontario and Perth, not all the rooms in there are single rooms. So based on that, your chances are below 50%. But I'm sure you'll enjoy a double hybrid at Ontario as well, because that's basically the type of room I lived in. And I'm someone that enjoys privacy, but I think I had a really good time first year with my roommates. yeah, it was a fun ride. And the last bonus question, and that is, I didn't get accepted to medsci yet. Should I be worried? And my answer to that is no, you shouldn't be worried because some of my friends got accepted in the summertime, so it's not over until, it's actually over. Even for me, I got accepted around this time because I applied in like late April for this program, but I wouldn't be too concerned because even if you don't get accepted to this program, I'm sure you have a lot of good choices to choose from anyway. So, yeah, I hope that helps you guys out. And I hope I did a good job answering your questions. So that's about it for this video. Smash that like button and hit subscribe with post notifications on so you can see more content like this. Yeah, good luck guys, and that's it. See ya.